I became disabled in 16. I have an inherited eye disease, and Cigna was my long-term disability company. And so as of Friday, they had wrote me a letter saying they was no longer going to pay me. They deemed that I was no longer disabled.
Oh.
But according to Social Security, I'm still disabled.
Yeah, that's a coverage question. You know, sometimes when you have a long-term disability policy, sometimes if you are also collecting on a Social Security disability payment type thing, they will drop that coverage. That's a tough thing to deal with. I always advise people when they're faced with a coverage question like that that's so life-affecting, you need to call a lawyer. And there's plenty of great lawyers up your way. We're available. There's plenty of great law firms and lawyers that can handle those questions rather easily. And it kind of reminds me, and Sarah, you'll certainly identify with this as well. I had a client in my office this week, and they had some significant injuries, but we found out what the coverage was, and there wasn't enough coverage for everything. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here, in that how do you advise clients? How do you tell them, I know your life is changing, but we've researched and the defendant, and there's no personal assets to seize there. They only have a state minimum $25,000 policy. Your medical bills are $100,000. How do you deal with that?
That's a great question, Tim, and it's often a very painful conversation to have, not only with the client, but with the insurance adjuster and any private investigator you've got trying to find any assets there in that case. What I always like to tell clients in that situation is we are being hired at that point to help take care of their medical bills, help take care of any hospital liens, any other type of liens. That's where we come in to save the day, essentially, and help get those knocked down so that the client's still getting money in their pocket. They're still getting their medical bills covered as best they can with the limited funds that are available. But it also really requires checking and doing your due diligence and doing your homework, making sure that you've got all the at-fault insurance coverage. Do they have an umbrella policy that they've not told you about yet? Have you done the research for that? Do you have your own uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage on your own policy? And this is a great time too to point out, like Tim said, $25,000 is the state minimum coverage. In this state and in these conditions and these days, that's a broken arm. Wow. It could be something less than that. So I always encourage clients to up your coverage, whatever you think it is, call and get it up again.